we have really low vacancy in my town. We're underbuilt, and so there's always been really high rental demand as a college market too. Um, and so, people think about student rentals and they think about, family rentals, but they didn't. A lot of people really don't. And we're not a vacation community, so there's not much of a short-term rental market here. But really, there's a humongous need for all the midterms, and so I've been just continually surprised by how many inquiries I get on Furnish Finder, and they keep coming. I got to turn away way more people than I can help, unfortunately, and looking for ways to scale and be able to help more people.
Welcome to the Landlord Diaries, the official podcast of Furnished Finder, your trusted companion for building success in monthly rentals. I'm Kelly Bailey with 8 cash flowing monthly rentals in Texas.
And I'm Katie Lyon, Marketing Director at Furnished Finder and real estate investor with 13 furnished rentals across multiple states. In every episode, we share real stories, practical tips, and expert insights to help you grow with confidence, from securing better bookings to maximizing your rental income. So follow the show and let Furnished Finder be your partner in building a thriving monthly rental business.
Today's guest is someone who wears 2 powerful hats. He's a top producing real estate broker in Oregon and a successful monthly midterm rental investor using Furnished Finder. Meet Ryan Long, realtor and landlord behind 6 monthly rentals, many acquired through smart house hacking. In this episode, Ryan reveals what he wishes he knew before listing on Furnish Finder and how monthly rentals have become a game changer for his real estate business, his clients, and his bottom line. Ryan, we appreciate you being here with us. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes, Ryan and I met at a conference, and ever since we met, I've just been so impressed by his story and what he does. And so I think you'll really enjoy this episode. Stay all the way through. So let's jump into the conversation. Ryan, what led you to become a real estate broker and investor?
Ooh, the real estate broker one's a little easier. My mom's been in the business 40 years, and she bugged me for quite a few years to join her. And so finally, 8 years ago, I took the plunge and moved back to my hometown, and I haven't regretted it. And working with my mom's been more fun than I even expected. So it's been a good setup.
I'm glad that's worked out well. The family businesses, I mean, they can go one of two ways.
Yes, yes, it's been great, and love spending time with my mom. So, yeah, the investor side. I mean, a little bit longer story, but I'll make it real brief. My grandfather started giving me shares of stock when I was a little kid, like 8 or 9, like one share for Christmas, and then I started mowing lawns when I was 12 or 13, and made a little bit of money, and my dad encouraged me to invest. And so I was reading Snowboarder magazine, and the first snowboarding company went public. I put some money in that, and all of a sudden I tripled my money and got to buy a new snowboard. And so, yeah, I was stuck on investing since then, and so I went to finance, became a financial advisor with Fidelity Investments, and some other businesses along the way. But yeah, I joined my mom 8 years ago in real estate and have had the chance to work a lot with investors, and of course, increase my passion for investment properties and creating housing here in Corvallis, Oregon, where I'm from.
That's awesome. So tell us when you decided to embrace monthly midterm rentals, because I know even when you're going into like, I'm going to do real estate investing, there's a whole array of things that you can do. So when did monthly rentals really stand out in your mind?
Well, I love to travel. And so this time I had bought a duplex, and I was just buying my second house hack. And about that time was the, 2021 COVID. We were working really hard, all these real estate deals, and I decided I need to get away. 3-month trip, visit my brother in Europe, and bought a van and did the van life thing in Europe for 3 months. And so I had this new house that house hacking, and somebody needed it for the exact amount of time I was going to be gone, the 3 months. So I was able to put them in there, and then some other people, and it was actually one of our team's clients. They were sold their house and needed a place for before their new construction home was built, and then I, listed the place, my apartment unit that I was living in my duplex, and and found a great person. Just a couple that were also, yeah, they were selling their house and moving across the country sort of setup. So very real estate related, and could have had the sale there probably, but my mind was so focused on driving through the former Yugoslavia and where to go that I didn't catch that one. But yeah.
I love that. I could send us on a tangent and talk about van life, but that's not what we're about. So maybe we'll tie that in the end with the rapid fire questions. But when it comes to your portfolio and house hacking kind of being one of your main strategies that you've already shared about, what does your current personal portfolio look like? And I love that you're a real estate agent, broker, and an investor. I think that's so powerful.
There's some great synergies that I'd love to, chat about, and we'll get there.
We
Uh,
will.
my first house is actually the one I'm in back in now. It's bought it as a triplex, and so I've got 3 units here. I'm living in one, and actually, we can talk about it more. But my handyman lives in a micro studio, is one of the 3 units, and that's been a really great setup for me. And then I've got a campus rental was my second house hack, and my third house hack is a home, a large 2 bedroom that, of course, I split up, and now it's a 1 bedroom and a 2 bedroom rental, or it can be combined into a larger home. So I've used it. I love the convertible idea, and I've been able to rent it both ways. And then yeah, started helping my parents with a couple as well, and so a couple larger houses. So I've it's nice. I've had studios all the way through now, 4 bedroom homes, and so I've gotten to see every single bedroom count in my area and what the demand looks like. So that's been a really nice thing too, understanding the demand.
Really interesting that you have units that you can flex kind of up and down too, right? By combining them in different ways. I think that's really smart if you have the asset type that can do that, just to give you that flexibility and say, okay, there's demand for this right now, but then maybe it shifts or you get a different type of inquiry or just how it works out. So that I think is a really smart pro tip. If you have a larger property and you're interested in breaking up into room rentals, it's not just each individual room, right? I know Kelly does that. You can say, oh, I'm going to rent these 2 rooms together, but then if I get interest for just one person, you could do another one. Like there's flexibility there. And that's part of monthly rentals, is that you get to make those decisions and you're running that business. So love that. I want to know what surprised you most about entering the monthly rentals field, because you have the real estate background, you've got the brokerage background, and just working in real estate in a lot of different aspects. But what specifically surprised you about entering monthly rentals?
I mean, honestly, the demand we have really low vacancy in my town. We're underbuilt, and so there's always been really high rental demand as a college market too. And so, people think about student rentals and they think about, family rentals, but they didn't. A lot of people really don't. And we're not a vacation community, so there's not much of a short-term rental market here. But really, there's a humongous need for all the midterms, and so I've been just continually surprised. By how many inquiries I get on Furnished Finder, and they keep coming. I got to turn away way more people than I can help. Unfortunately, and looking for ways to scale and be able to help more people find housing. But yeah, just honestly surprised and wish I would have either started earlier or been able to scale faster to help more people.
Yeah, that's a great problem to have. And our if you look at our arbitrage playlist, that's actually a lot of times on the insurance playlist. They have perfected what to do when you have too many leads and don't know what to do with them. You can flip around and partner with other Furnish Finder landlords. So go check out those playlists if that's something that interests you. But how to really use monthly rentals in your investment strategy. How do you help your clients on the real estate side in the closing process or in the transition process? You already mentioned that your first monthly rental was a transition for one of your clients. So, what all do you see for reasons why monthly rentals come in handy for real estate clients?
Oh man, it's come in handy so many times. I mean, and I've only been doing this a couple years and have these, 5 units, but it's I mean, more than half a dozen times I've had clients stay. So situations like what I just talked about, home new construction being delayed and then wanting to go in there. I've had a couple other closings delayed as well, and I was able to find housing. One was just for 3 days when, checked in clear, whatever. They had to redo their employment verification, something silly that just took a couple days, but they couldn't move into their new house, and they were, of course, beside themselves because they'd promised to move out of their apartment. Uh, Septic system needed to be installed, and that put us back almost a month. So I was able to provide housing for those people. But really, I mean, I was at an open house a couple years ago, and I was like, yeah, I've got some house, I've got a few places that your family could move in. And because so many people are moving from out of town here to our community, like we want to land somewhere. We don't want to rent really and be in a rental for a year. We loved it, but we want to find something. And it's so hard, low inventory is hard to find something, number one, and they want to get to know the area a little bit. So it's great for them to be able to have. And they came back to me a couple months after the open house and say, hey, do you still have that available? Um, so that's great. I mean, and also some of those leads coming in wanting to rent a place or people in transition into town through Furnished Finder. So I've gotten real estate sales one through there as well. So yeah, so Furnished Finder helped me get one, and that was a great compensation, of course. Um, the other thing now with a listing, and I think I was telling you about this a little bit, but I had this luxury home listed earlier this summer, and the ladies, I will nicely call them cat ladies. So they've got luxury home, they've got three cats. They had literally 20 cat trees in their house. I
Wow,
was
that's a lot.
I was like, we cannot put this on the market and have photos and have people walk around. They're going to freak out thinking it's going to smell like cats. Thank God so I said, hey, my house is going to be available at the right time when they wanted to list it. So things lined up perfectly. They were able to stay in my house for about 4 weeks while we were doing all the showings. Luckily, their house did not smell and it sold quickly. And so I really do think that helped them out and was a nice way to they were uh sensitive. They'd already passed on one agent who told them that, so when I came through and had a solution, it helped me get the listing too.
Looking for a simple professional way to manage your monthly rental? Furnish Finder's Landlord Tools brings everything together: tenant screening, lease templates, and online rent payments, all in one place. Stay organized, save time, and stay in control. For more information, explore Landlord Tools today.
Now, Ryan, let me ask you this: as someone who is working the buy sell side of real estate, something that I think about a lot now is today, right, in late 2025 when we're recording this. I feel like real estate sales are moving slower. People are being much more intentional about what they buy, when and if they sell. Prices are still high, and interest rates are, at least when you compare where they were a few years ago, higher. I know people say, well, I bought my house in the 80s. Cool. But like compared to 3 years ago, interest rates are higher. So
Hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of people, and I'm not an agent, right, that are saying, I'm going to finish my basement, or I'm going to renovate my kitchen, or yeah, we're relocating, but we are going to be really intentful with what neighborhood we land in and watching the budget. How has that opened the door for you with your midterm rentals, not only from an investor's perspective, because you are wearing both of those hats, but also from a value that you're giving your clients? Because I feel like you are also solving that part of the equation for them that feels like it's gotten a lot harder in the past year or two. Is that something that you are seeing?
I mean, yeah, I'm trying to imagine, the business has definitely changed a lot in the last 3 years as far as the number of sales, but people are always in transition and they've got to move here and there. And really almost everywhere in the country, minus a few markets, are still having low inventory issues. And
Yeah.
so that that creates that friction of selling and buying. And so when you've got a solution or a backup solution, really that's what my houses have become, is a backup solution, is
Yeah.
when somebody's like, gosh, I need to sell, and then I can buy, or I haven't found the right home, but I'm already selling and I'm moving to town to get a job. And so really the low inventory has continued. And honestly, I think that's some of the friction that's created a lot of opportunity for me.
Yeah, it's an interesting market right now, right? Because prices are still pretty high, interest rates are still pretty high, but inventory is still pretty low. It's this odd conundrum, but I really like how you're positioning it as solving that problem, right? Because no matter what state of the market or what state of the economy, we are always going to have these problems where it's whether it's a travel nurse can't find a place to stay or a family needs a place to stay while they wait for their dream house to come on the market. So I love how you have positioned that, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I was a little worried as, COVID tailed off here, because I was just on the end of that, thinking that, there weren't going to be as many travel nurses. But again, the demand in my area has only gone up here.
Yeah.
So travel nurses have been consistent in my area, and all these we've got a couple corporate rental contracts. Those are wonderful too. They're only there, half the week or less, and they're coming and going and really light on the property. So lots of reasons to benefits. So
Mm-hmm.
And this is
Love it.
a great time to add a few Furnished Finder call outs. Just as for those of you that don't know, our largest tenant type is actually business travelers, around 35%. Travel nurses are around a third of our traveler type. So there's so many reasons why tenants are traveling monthly. Relocations is one of our largest growing tenant types. And as we've heard from Ryan, there's a lot of use cases for the gap housing and relocations for monthly rentals. So let's go tie it back to your personal story, and when you're looking at midterm rentals as a leading cash flow strategy in a market that can sometimes feel very high cost. How do you personally decide your rental buy box and just what to invest in?
great question. So again, house hacking is part of has been a part of my strategy so far. But I've always house hacked homes that are either on large lots that I'll be able to develop. So I've got plans to develop a couple of these properties, or build out basements or other development to really not just flip or do a little bit of a burr kind of thing. It's actually a much larger increase in value that I'm trying to create. So I'm always looking for those opportunities, and those units hopefully will all turn into MTRs as I complete those three projects I've got lined up.
So let's actually dive into a little deeper. So house hacking is your main strategy, but then someone asks, okay, well, how do I choose what property makes a good house hack? And especially a house hack that can be used for monthly rentals. And before we get too far, in case we have anyone new to landlording or investing, why don't you go ahead and let them know what house hacking is as well?
House hacking is really, I think, in its simplest form, buying a house or property as income generation. And so the most common form is a duplex, triplex, fourplex. Those are the very easy and great because you've got several income sources from the other units. But house hacking to me can be also having a great shop, or parking that you can rent out part of the year, other ways to make money on the property to hopefully cover most of the rent. So house hacking is really just hacking the cost of your own living, or renting by the room by renting out other units on the property, hacking the cost of living.
And so, how do you decide what is like like a no brainer? Like, oh yes, I am choosing this property and I'm going after it. How do you decide that?
Well, I'm comfortable living in the same general space with other people, but I don't want roommates at my age. And so, duplex, triplex, fourplex, or space like the home in Albany, where I could split it up and have, studio and two bedroom, are a lot more appealing to me. Something with value add and some separation where I can do that. one of my house hacks actually has turned into a campus rental, and it's great. The one where I had the family move in while I was on my 3 month van life tour, and it's a 5 bedroom. And so honestly, around a campus, a 5 bedroom house, and I could probably do a lot better with a 5 bedroom like that, doing rent by the room or traveling rent by the room, or MTR rent by the room. But that one's just such a great campus rental that it's that I've kept that strategy on that one.
Yeah, it's there's a million different ways to house hack, and I think just by opening your eyes to that, you can get so creative, right? You can have an ADU, an additional dwelling unit in the back. You can finish your garage if you're in a climate that allows for that. You can rent out your basement. We see it all the time, and it's one of those things where once you put on your hat for creativity, you can start to see things you might have not seen before. Like, let's say, your kids just graduated and they moved out, and all of a sudden, maybe you got hit with some more expenses. You have to pay for some medical care for a parent or something, and you need some additional income. Well, you've got a finished basement that's empty, or you've got a garage that you can close off, or you've got space for an ADU. There's a lot of different opportunities. Tell us how you have been able to use house hacking and midterm rental strategy to make sense of some deals that wouldn't otherwise make sense. Because we do hear a lot of like, the numbers don't work for this property, right?
Yeah, and really my most recent purchase, I mean, there was no other way to justify purchasing that house without being able to have the increase in income with a midterm rental. So, I think on that and my overall goals, being in a high cost of living area, I want to acquire properties. I don't want there to be negative cash flow, even though I have the other benefits of appreciation, taxes, and debt buy down with payments. But you really don't want to be cash flow negative, and so this is the way that I've been able to be at least cash flow neutral, if not positive, on my homes, is to be able to get that higher margin with the midterms.
Tell us a little bit more about that deal specifically, if you're comfortable with it. Tell us how you got those numbers to work.
Yeah, so my most recent, my most recent midterm was a house in Albany, Oregon, and it was actually, we don't have that many foreclosures, but picked up a VA foreclosure, point 0.4 acres, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. But I was in Austin at the time. Anyway, and I bought it from afar because I was like, wow, this is a 1,500 square foot house, and it's 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1950s, great bones, and so. I bought it for 380,000. I was able to use my own commissions as part of my 5% down, so I brought very little money to the table. It was
Yeah.
as interest rates started going up, and so my monthly numbers is about 2,600 for PITI. And so I was able to live in one side, did some renovations on that one, about 60K in renovations. Lived in one side, was able to rent out the 2 bedroom while I lived in the what I converted into the studio 1 bedroom, nice studio space. And so then yeah, so one side I rent for about 2,600 a month, the 2 bedroom, and that studio has been by far most in demand. And so I'd love to have more studios, but that one I rent for usually around 1650 or so a month. And again, super consistent, almost zero vacancy, maybe 2 or 3% vacancy. So people are clamoring over each other to get into the studio space.
So you're getting income, you're getting your principal paid down, you're getting your interest is like you're paying off your expenses. People are building equity for you, and you still get to live there, right? And experience it. Like, and you don't have roommates. That's the best
Yeah,
part.
I don't. I think one of the biggest challenges I was telling Kelly is not having a design background myself or that eye for it. And I love some of the new AI tools that are helpful, but it was nice to be able to live in these spaces too and furnish them
Mm-hmm.
over time, with high quality used furniture, sometimes free. Find stuff on Facebook Marketplace or for friends or from clients moving across the country and getting to inherit cheaply some furniture. So that's the other benefit of house hacking, is you can slowly build up and not have a huge expense for trying to get it on the market right away and get everything furnished. You can build that up over time. a lot and
Yep.
furnish a lot cheaper. It's
Yep.
nice to have some ex-girlfriends with that design. I do. A couple of them help me with some fun designs in my homes, but that was the other way that I made it work.
And
Ex-girlfriends
if
that you
you're
still get along with,
Yeah,
right?
I get along with most of them. So
That's good.
That's awesome.
And if you're loving this conversation, we have an episode that went live a couple weeks back that was about house hacking as a family. So you don't have to be on your own house hacking. You can totally embrace house hacking as a family, just as Ryan mentioned a duplex. That's how Dave and I got started in real estate investing. Is we bought a duplex. We didn't know about monthly rentals at that time. It was maybe it was 2015. Furnished Finder had just launched in 2014. And we became landlords, rented out the other half, and have been going ever since. So our portfolio is completely monthly rentals at this point, with 8 monthly rental doors around the Austin, Texas area. But have you, Ryan, ever helped a client transition from long-term rentals or short-term rentals to monthly midterm rentals? Like maybe it was underperforming, or maybe they were stressed out from all the flips of short-term rentals. Have you ever helped a client through that?
I think I've gotten a lot of clients, especially first time buyers, over the threshold, first time investor clients over the threshold of making the numbers work, right? So it's been able to do that. I'm a huge advocate for the midterm rentals because I know the demand in our area, and so certainly that way. I've been trying to convert. There's several clients that want to spend their summers here or be here off and on to visit family, and so I've been able to convert one of encourage them to use 8 months of the year rented out to college students or other people looking for furnished for as on Furnished Finder. And they've done well with that. But yeah, I need to get some of those other people that have vacant homes half the year to sign on to Furnished Finder. Let me help them find some tenants for sure.
All right, let's talk about some things that you wish you knew before you got started, because hindsight is our best friend sometimes, but especially when trying to help somebody else out. So tell us, what was your learning curve like when you're starting with monthly rentals on Furnished Finder?
Yeah. The real estate background definitely helped because I was already looking at listings and homes for sale. And a lot of the same principles really match that. You want to have high quality photos, light and
Mm-hmm.
bright, and that sort of thing. So my first couple listings, again, it was where I was living and I was moving out of town, and so my first listing probably could have gotten a lot more income by having higher quality photos and a little bit better bedspreads and that kind of stuff, going to Costco and buying stuff. That would be my second thing is probably, getting consistency with sheets and other supplies is nice too. It makes those turnovers so much easier if you've got, because my turnovers don't happen at the same time. And so if I've got, three extra queen bed sets and I can have those laundered and ready to go, it makes those transitions for my cleaners so much faster and easier. So honestly, some of that would be another lesson learned and something I've implemented over the last year is to make those turnovers easier, having everything, all the linens pre-ready to go. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Honestly, the biggest lesson learned, well, two more lessons. One of the biggest is just how much opportunity there is for real estate agents in this space, and wish I'd done more, done it sooner. Or we've got local Facebook groups for the agents where they're sharing their listings, and I'm able to share my midterm rentals on there too. And so people now call me as the furnished rental guy, and asking those agents are asking me. So again, almost all of my leads still come from Furnish Finder, but it's fun to be known for that as well and have people coming to me. I guess last thing, I do wish I had plugged more into some of the extra Furnish Finder tools that you guys have. I'd already started on some other systems, and so now I've got a couple different systems going. And I think it was before maybe some of the when I started some of the screening tool that you guys have has been great. I've used it once or twice, um and also some of the contract stuff. I'd already gotten some of that stuff, but I think you guys have the Furnish Finder now has a really seamless process for keeping that all in house. And as I I'm contemplating how I'm going to improve my processes over the course of next year. I'm looking at consolidating all of that under the Furnished Finder tools there to make it that much easier for
Well,
myself.
it's never too late, Ryan. It's never too late. And I will say, something for everybody to know is we've had KeyCheck for years. A lot of people know about KeyCheck, but one thing that we've been working really hard on behind the scenes is moving all of those tools so they're also living within Furnish Finder, because that seamless experience, like you said, we know how valuable it is. So you can now do tenant screening right through Furnished Finder. Leases and docs are going to be available if they're not already for some users. So keep your eye open as we move a lot of that. Like, we know how ease of use and having a one-stop shop per se is really valuable for everybody. But I think this would also make a really good quick roundtable. Kelly, I would love to hear something you wish you knew, because as Ryan was going through that, I thought of a couple really simple, silly things, but that would have made a big difference for me.
You cover yours first, and I'll think about mine.
All right. A couple of things for me, and some of these have actually come up more recently, is I wish I would have bought 100% cotton sheets for everybody. Sometimes I got like the microfiber or just, the cheaper ones on Amazon. Those things are so hard to get hair off of. If a hair touches them, it's like a permanent static cling. So that's something that just 100% cotton going through. I wish I would have from the very beginning gotten the like iron on labels for sheets that say king, queen, full. Even if you have a property that only has one bed size, having those labeled would be huge, especially if you're doing some of the laundry offsite. Like, man, I want that.
So I'm doing hotel collection at Costco for my sheets now, and they are great because they have they say what if it's a side or a back or front, and then it's got a great label on it as well,
Okay,
tell you
sold.
if it's a king
I'm
or a
sold.
queen. So,
I am
and
sold
they're
because
great
that is the
quality.
biggest
So
pain. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Sold. And then my other thing was we never did a walkthrough video. We took the photos, and I wish right when we took the photos, we would have done just a quick, nothing fancy walkthrough video on our phone that we could send to tenants when they're inquiring about the space, because now I'm trying to backpedal and get those. It doesn't have to be professional, just a quick holding up your iPhone, walking through. Here's what it looks through. It gives credibility. It gives all that stuff. I wish I would have done that, because now that's biting me in the tush.
It's not too late. Next
It's not
turnover.
too late. It's just much more difficult. It's just much,
Yeah.
because when you get the property all ready to go for pictures, you're there. Everything is exactly how you want it. And now it's like, all right, no, we can still do it. It's just much harder.
Or your cleaner could do it for you. Yeah,
True.
that's
True.
lots of
Yes.
options. I think
Yes.
there's so many different things we could cover for like what we wish we knew before we started on Furnish Finder or in monthly midterm rentals. So I'll just grab one, and that is the occupancy and booking window, right? Like a lot of people think it's more like short-term rental where it's seasonal, you may have gaps, but we've heard on our show time and time again, and I think all three of us can say, 90 to 95% occupancy is normal for a monthly midterm rental. But the booking window is shorter, right? So it's like typically when I put my property available and have the availability date on Furnish Finder just by blocking out the dates of when my guest is moving out, I likely won't get my next guest until the week or 2 weeks prior to the availability date, and sometimes a week after or a couple weeks after the availability date. So that's probably the thing that I want to encourage you all with is don't freak out if you add your listing and it's not available for 2 months and you're not getting any contacts. Like that's normal to have that booking window right around the time that your availability date is coming up. And that's for those that only do 30-day rentals, right? Like we don't fill our gaps with short term. So if you're filling your gaps with short term, it might look a little different. But, on Furnish Finder, the average book to stay window is around 30 to 40 days. Do you see the same in your market, Ryan?
Yeah, I've told a few friends that have started doing this too that it's kind of not for the faint of heart because you get that last week. It seems like almost every single time I get somebody that wants to get in there at the last minute or a week after it becomes vacant kind of thing. So yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't have anybody, but then it comes through and it's vacant, and it's taught me not to take those tenants on that say, "Hey, I want to rent something next summer or 3 months out," and you're worried about a gap. It's just not worth it. And I've now started coaching those people. Hey, all my tenants are month to month. I don't know if I will know in 30 days before they move out. I would love to keep in contact with you and let you know if it's available at that point. So I started doing that more and more and trying to do a better job of tracking some of those people to get them in if I do have the timing right for their vacancies.
With Furnish Finder, we're always optimizing the best connection between landlords and tenants, right? We want it to be a smooth process so that you can have that conversation, make sure it's a good fit, go through the tenant screening and booking process. So, everything you need, as Ryan emphasized, is on Furnish Finder. So jump in, start using the tools, whether you're a new landlord or you're already a Furnish Finder landlord and you just kind of want to see what's out there for other options. But as far as you teased earlier, Ryan, about AI tools, and we've had a conversation
Oh,
that you're actually a huge AI fan as well. Furnish Finder, we are always looking for ways to incorporate AI into the Furnish Finder business. So, how have you found tools for your marketing that just make your listing better? You mentioned like a photo tool, I think, or potentially a furnishing tool. What all AI tools have been beneficial?
so I haven't used a ton yet with my MTRs, except for, I mean, as a real estate broker, most real estate brokers should be, if they're not, using AI to help them with their listing descriptions. And so I certainly have that help pre-fill, make sure, ask as I do my prompt, ask it for the keywords that people are looking for in my market. And so that's it's been really wonderful having being able to upgrade and improve my listing descriptions for sure. So that's the biggest one, and that's by far the easiest. And if you haven't put your Furnish Finder link into ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok and said, "Hey, how can I improve my listing?" You're crazy. Take 2 seconds and do that. See what it says. I think it'd be a really good experience for everybody to try that at a minimum. Other than that, yeah, there's some great tools some AI tools I know that help not only digitally. They have a bunch of different styles, and so you can go through the house, take a picture, and say, "I want this to be, boho style or mid-century modern style," and it will give you some ideas. That way, you can help furnish it to with those kind of things. And I think there's some now coming out where you can use that and then have links to buy some of those products that are available as well. So I'm looking forward to that design process being easier for me as I try and keep things cost effective and running out of ex-girlfriends.
All right, Ryan, I think we are ready for rapid fire, which is our new way of wrapping up the podcast. And I love it because it's quick hitters, which match the length of my attention span. So I want to know one highlight of van life because you did something that a lot of us dream about but don't have the guts to do.
Um, Van life was great going to a low cost country because I had a small van that didn't have a shower, and so going to a low cost country, you can decide if you want to spend almost every night in a hotel where you have a nice hot shower as well. But I really loved Albania. It's kind of the Wild West still, as one of the most recent democratic countries, and so that's not on your radar, and you want to go a little lesser known country. Albania was really really cool. I got pulled over there and talked my way out of a ticket because I didn't have any cash on me that they wanted. So anyway, lots of adventures.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about house hacking at the beginning. I'd love to tie that back in. What's a remodeling tip that like one that you can't live without for your house hacking?
Ooh, it's all about networking. I mean, I hear all the people that say, go to the go to Home Depot at 6 o'clock and see who's there. But, one person introduces you to another, and I've got this awesome handyman that I've given a little bit of living space. And anytime I call him, he's got a full-time job, but anytime I call him, he's like, yeah, I'll get over there right away. It's so awesome to have that connection and that availability
Yep.
of a handyman to help me out.
Yep. The most undervalued profession ever, handyman.
Mm-hmm.
It really,
Good
really
one.
is. All
Find
right.
find one that you can trust. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Last one, and it's a fun one. If you had to live in any of your Furnished Finder rentals for 1 year as a tenant, which one would you pick and why?
The one I'm living in.
So you've made the right choice.
I was like,
I
you've
did.
lived in
The
all
one
of
I'm
them, I
in. I mean,
guess.
I've kind of come around and
Yeah.
waiting for the next one. But where I'm living now, I mean, as I renovated more upscale for me, and quartz counters and nicer setup. And then I have like hidden doors so I can shove everything in there. And I'm gonna go away for a month in December, and I'll shove everything behind the hidden bookshelf door, and rent it out while I'm gone, and get most of my airfare back from just renting it out. So it's great.
Nice.
Awesome.
And if you haven't checked out Ryan's listings, make sure and check the show notes. They are beautiful. So you're going to really enjoy just seeing
Well, thanks.
the kind of effort and professionalism he's put into his monthly rentals. Ryan, if someone wants to connect with you outside of your Furnish Finder listing, how would you like them to do so?
I'm on Instagram. Ryan Long Realtor is probably the best way to get a hold of me, or best way to find me online, or just searching my name in Corvallis. I think the other thing is, if you're local to Oregon, I've got a great monthly real estate meetup on the second Wednesday of the month here in town. So look up WVREI, which is Willamette Valley Real Estate Investors, and come to our free meetup.
Nice. Well, this has been such a fun episode with you, Ryan. We appreciate you being here. If you want to share your story, or you've been encouraged by Ryan's story, make sure and put it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on around episode 150, between 150 and 200, and all of our content you can honestly go back and watch. So check out those playlists on YouTube. But we just want to keep bringing you everything monthly rental so you can succeed as investors, new landlords, established landlords, etc. So thanks for joining us, and
Oh,
hopefully
thank
we'll
you.
catch you again next time.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much, Katie and Kelly.
Bye.
Bye now.
Thanks for joining us on this episode. If you're enjoying the Landlord Diaries, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others. With over 300,000 listings across the country, Furnished Finder makes it easy for landlords and tenants to connect directly. No middleman, no markups. Ready to list your property? Head to furnishedfinder.com to be a part of the movement that's redefining rentals one connection at a time.